All right. The next section we're going to, we need to, is medical files. Is it coming up? There we go. Everybody's got a little bit different system of how they're filing their medical files. We've had some guilty parties, having accidents. Oops.
You're okay.
It's okay, okay. We've had some guilty parties where they like to stand on regular chairs, not use the step stools or the 3-stair ladders that have been provided by VDH to get those files on the top. I've also seen medical files that the tops are packed, but the bottoms are lighter, the middle's lighter, and I don't know how their filing system's set up. But let's get those evenly distributed if you're a file room clerk, or that's one of those areas I would look at. If we don't need the files, let's pack them up. I know sometimes you can't archive them, but think about that. That's a big hazard. Somebody's pulling those medical files, and we may have to break medical files up into 2 or 3 files if they get too heavy. All right. So this is one type that I've seen. I've also seen this type. That's the type that's on a track that you roll. You use your arm to roll it, or it's got that black handle, and you're rolling it. People get smushed in those all the time because somebody else didn't know they were in there. You know, or you hear this, "Hey, I'm in here," and then So now this is actually a picture of VDH. This is probably the only one that I'm going to tell you. And what they've done, because they've had some people get squished, they put a safety notice. And you can see here, before entering the stacks, please make sure that the small knob on the black handle is pressed in so the stack cannot be moved or be moved while you are inside. Okay? So this is an idea where somebody's obviously had some squishing going on. They put some signage up so that they don't get squished anymore. Okay? All right. All right, let's talk about chairs and ergonomic chairs. Okay? When we talk about chairs, we got all kinds of chairs out there. What we need to make sure of is that you sit in your chair. If it's a rolly chair, you need to make sure you hold on to the arms when you go to sit down in it so it doesn't shoot out from under you and you fall on the floor. It's happened to all of us. It really has, and we just don't want to admit that we fell out of a chair. Depending on your age, you really don't want to tell anybody you fell out of a chair. Okay? You need to look at our chairs break down after a while, and our equipment's not new. Lots of times we have what we have, and we get passed down whatever's available. So inspect your chair. Make sure the wheels are good. Make sure the wheels aren't falling off. If you have a wheel or what we call a caster, and every time you sit down on it, the chair goes sideways and the wheel falls off, we need to talk about getting that chair fixed, because that's just an accident waiting to happen. Okay? Got to look for loose parts, armrests that are missing. I see people using all kinds of rigged up stuff because we just don't have the money to fix it. Sometimes, we got to spend a couple $100 and get the right chair, then somebody keep getting hurt on those. And we do have lots of injuries related to chairs throughout the Commonwealth and throughout VDH. So that's one of those big things. When you are looking to purchase a chair, what you want to make sure of is that it's what we call an ergonomic chair. It needs to have 5 legs for stability, like this one in the picture. You need to have armrests. You shouldn't be typing with your arms on the chair, but they should be there when you've stopped typing. Okay? You want the seat pan, which is the part that you actually sit on, to be able to be moved up and down, as well as if you have a new car, you've got that button where it feels like your knees are coming up into your chin. It's called a tilt. You actually want your knees slightly higher than your hips when you're sitting all day in the chair. It takes some pressure off your lower back. Sitting is just as bad as standing. You got to get up, you got to move around. Oh, and that reminds me, the most important thing. We scheduled a break at 11, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody's got to remind me, because I have the gift of gab, and I'll just keep going and not even think about it. So somebody's got to remind me that we have a break at 11, okay? Also, the chair itself has to go up and down. You got to make sure that it's adjustable. And then you should have some type of lumbar support with the chair. Either the chair is going to bow out and there's a a slide that goes up and down to give you support, or it might, some of the older ones, it's a knob that you turn on the bottom. Look at your chairs, see what's available. Sometimes there are older chairs, and when I go out to do an ergonomic assessment, I don't even know how to adjust it. And I have to sit there and play with it for a while, and I usually end up getting the information, get the manufacturer's manual, reading on it, and then coming back and doing it. And usually trying to adjust the chair to the employee. Usually when we do ergonomic assessments, we always make recommendations. Once those recommendations or the equipment that they might need for whatever reason, we do come out and do a reassessment. So it's never like we only come out once, we try to fix you, and then that's it. We do come out and try to redo it. Yes, ma'am.
With there being such a big push and demand for telecommuting and teleworking, what happens? Are there ergonomic assessments available to the employees who telework?
The question is with the big push on teleworking, is there any kind of provision for individuals in their home or the other locations to have some kind of ergonomic review?
Good question. I'm going to give you the yes and no answer. That's the best. We have not, nobody has asked us for a home ergonomic evaluation. There is out on the DHRM website as part of the workers' comp training, tips for telework, safety tips for teleworkers. And one of those, some of that information is ergonomic adjustments, how to work with laptops, make sure you're using, you're not sitting on the couch Indian style with a pillow using your, which some people do, using your keyboard. So the best thing that I can say is if you have somebody that's having a problem or you think there's a potential problem, we have a form. It's called Request for Loss Control Services. It can be found on the DHRM website under the Workers' Comp tab. Would be fill it out. Christy McLaren, who was here earlier, would review it and then determine whether or not it was whether or not she could provide that service, and then she would assign it to us, and we would come out. So I can't say no and I can't say yes. It just hasn't been tested yet. That we just haven't done, at least that I'm aware of. But there are tips for teleworkers. And there's always, as a supervisor or somebody responsible for safety, if there's that concern, we can always walk through the process over the telephone with the employee or potential risk there. Okay? Good question, though. I really don't know how to answer that question other than I don't know if we would or not. But there's resources out there, those tips for teleworkers. All right. We love our chairs. Okay. Is this an ergonomic chair? No, but they're comfortable, they're great, they're nice executive chairs, they're broken in, their bodies fit right down good in there. It's got features. We've got the five legs for stability. It probably raises up and down, but the seat pan doesn't adjust. It does have arms, the arms don't adjust. And we've got some makeshift lumbar support. The black on the left hand side, that's it's just a lumbar support brace, and then the second one on the right hand side is a lumbar pillow that they're using for the pillow. So they're great, they're comfy, but not necessarily ergonomic. Okay. I really took this picture. Okay. Please don't stand on non-appropriate step stools or ladders to reach stuff. Okay, it does happen. That chair is a rattan chair. Somebody can fall through it. Depending on the types of chairs you have at your agencies, you might have some of the older plastic chairs that have the wire, I've seen them in waiting rooms and stuff, they're the wire base with the plastic seat. I've seen people step through that, they're standing on it and the bottom fall out basically. So just think about those things, discourage that. That's what we got, step stools, mini ladders, some facilities or VDH locations, they're like little ladders. They have 3 or 4 steps, and they have like a handrail that they can walk up on.